The story opens in the New Mexico territory. The year is 1892. In the distance, we spot a solitary house. Inside, a woman named Rosalie Quid is busy homeschooling her children. Rosalie has a small, tight-knit family consisting of her children and her husband, Wesley, and their life seems to be proceeding peacefully. However, one day they look out toward the horizon and realize that a Comanche raiding party is approaching. Wherever this specific group travels, chaos and trouble follow. Usually, their primary targets are horses. They have come to this house specifically to steal the livestock, and they are known to never show mercy to a soul. As soon as Wesley spots them, he begins retrieving his weapons. He urgently tells Rosalie to take the children and escape through the back road, promising to hold the attackers off for as long as he can. Terrified by the sight, Rosalie argues that they will surely kill him. She suggests they should just step out quietly and let the raiders take whatever they want. If they want the horses, let them have them. Wesley insists that it is not that simple. He knows they also target women and fears they will assault her. He refuses to simply hand over his property and his family's safety without a fight. Saying this, he sends Rosalie back and steps onto the porch with his gun. The moment he steps out, he opens fire. Seeing this resistance, the Comanche warriors shoot him down. They kill Wesley mercilessly. Rosalie witnesses this tragedy from a distance, watching her husband die right before her eyes. But simply killing him does not satisfy the Comanche group. They follow a gruesome ritual. After killing their victims, they remove the scalp. After tearing off Wesley's skin, they display it to Rosalie and her daughters, which terrifies them even further. Rosalie screams at her daughters to run. They all begin to sprint away from the house, but the Comanches gun down Rosalie's two daughters first. Rosalie tries her absolute best, but she is powerless to save them. Now, she only has her baby son in her arms. He is very small, and she runs desperately with him. She keeps running, and the Comanches keep hunting her. After a while, she manages to hide within a dense thicket in the forest where the men cannot spot her. They search for her for a while, but when they fail to find her, they eventually leave the area. It is only then that Rosalie realizes her son was also struck by a bullet during the escape. He, too, has lost his life. In a single, brutal blow, Rosalie's entire family is dead. She has no one left in this world. The Comanche raiders return from the forest, round up Rosalie's horses, set fire to her home, and ride away. On the other side of the narrative, we meet a captain in the U.S. Army named Joseph. Joseph has been serving for the past 20 years and is considered one of their finest soldiers. Currently, he is tasked with capturing an Apache Indian family and imprisoning them. He knows exactly how to execute his duty. He arrests the family and brings them back to the jail. Later, as he sits in the evening, we see his companion, Sergeant Thomas, across from him. From their conversation, we learn that both men are nearing retirement. They are exhausted by this life, tired of the daily fighting and the endless cycle of capturing people. They believe that once they retire, life will finally be beautiful. However, the very next morning, Joseph receives a letter stating the colonel has summoned him. He goes straight to the office of Colonel Abraham. Abraham explains that there is a prisoner named Yellow Hawk whose entire family is imprisoned there. They have been serving a sentence for 7 years. Recently, however, they discovered that Yellow Hawk has terminal cancer. Yellow Hawk wrote a letter to the president explaining his dilemma. His final dying wish is to return to his ancestral lands in Montana and spend his remaining days there. Since he does not have much time left, the president read the letter and agreed to his release. However, Yellow Hawk's family cannot make the journey alone. He has many enemies along the route. He is a Native American chief who killed many people before his imprisonment, and his enemies will not let him pass safely. Therefore, a soldier must escort him, and Joseph's name has been selected because he is the most capable officer. Abraham orders him to take Yellow Hawk home. Joseph immediately refuses. He argues that the colonel knows exactly what kind of man Yellow Hawk is and the brutal history they have with the natives. He recalls how these people killed his friends, memories he can never forget. He considers the natives his greatest enemy. Hearing this, Abraham counters that he must let go of the past. He reminds Joseph that he is a soldier, and soldiers cannot hold personal grudges. They deal with bad people, but that doesn't mean they hold on to the hate forever. Abraham admits Yellow Hawk did wrong, but he has served his time and is now dying. Joseph must help him. Joseph still refuses. Abraham finally loses his temper. He explains that Joseph isn't grasping the gravity of the situation. This isn't a request he can rethink. This is a direct order from the president. If Joseph violates it, he will be court-martialed. If that happens, he will lose the pension he is set to receive upon retirement. The hard work of the last 20 years will vanish in an instant. Abraham warns him not to gamble with his life, as he doesn't want Joseph to ruin his retirement. Hearing this, Joseph is forced to reconsider. He has to obey, even if he hates it. He doesn't agree immediately, but says he needs to think and will assemble his own small team. Leaving the office, he goes to see Yellow Hawk. He sees Native Americans everywhere, observing them and speaking briefly to the chief. He then goes to select his team. Aside from himself, he recruits 4 others. The first is Sergeant Thomas, his best friend. The second is Henry. The third is Rudy. And the fourth is Philippe, a young man with the least age and experience who has just joined the army. Shortly after, Abraham arrives and tells Joseph he made the right choice, expressing happiness with the decision. He promises a good farewell once the job is done. He hands Joseph the presidential letter, instructing him to keep it close. If any trouble arises on the road, this paper is the ultimate authority. No one will stop them. Joseph pockets the letter and departs with his team and the Yellow Hawk family. After a short journey, they reach a clearing. Joseph halts everyone, draws a knife, and approaches Yellow Hawk. He cuts the chief's bonds, hands him the knife, and tells him that if he wants to fight, they can settle it now. Just the 2 of them, man to man. Joseph is actually testing Yellow Hawk here, suspecting he is still the same killer who will slaughter them the first chance he gets. But Yellow Hawk responds that he has no desire to fight Joseph or anyone else. He is done with killing. He stands defenseless, telling Joseph to kill him if he wishes. He won't make a sound. Joseph calms down, realizing the fight isn't there. He doesn't truly want to execute him, so he orders Henry to retie the chief's hands. They continue, and as evening falls, they set up a small camp, departing again at first light. A few hours later, they arrive at the site of Rosalie's home. The entire structure is burnt to the ground. Seeing this from a distance, Joseph orders his men to set up a perimeter and rest while he investigates. Entering the ruins, he finds Rosalie sitting beside the corpses of her children. The scene is horrifying. Her husband's body lies there as well. As soon as Rosalie sees Joseph, she whispers for him not to make noise because her children are sleeping. Joseph realizes she is in deep shock and unable to process the reality. He speaks gently to her, explaining their camp is nearby and asking if she would like to go there. Rosalie agrees. Joseph signals his companions, and they load the bodies onto the horses, bringing them to the camp. He orders Henry to begin digging graves, as the family must be buried. Meanwhile, Rosalie spots Yellow Hawk's family and begins screaming, believing them to be part of the Comanche group. Joseph intervenes, calming her and assuring her these people will not harm her. When Henry approaches to take her son's body for burial, Rosalie snaps in anger, insisting she will bury her children herself. She moves a short distance away and tries to dig the earth, but she lacks the strength. Everyone stands watching, heartbroken by the sight of her grief. Her internal agony is palpable, and she remains trapped in her trauma. No one interferes. Joseph waits for her to exhaust herself. Once she calms down, he signals the men to take over. The graves are dug, and the bodies are laid to rest as night falls. Later, Rosalie sits alone in the dark. Black Hawk, Yellow Hawk's son, approaches her with his wife to offer her some clothes. Thomas watches from a distance and asks Joseph what will happen to her. Joseph replies that they cannot leave her there, as she has nothing left. They will take her to the city, where she can hopefully find a new path. While everyone sleeps, Rosalie lies awake, haunted by her loss. She grabs a pistol and marches toward her family's grave, intending to end her own life. Joseph follows her, gently wrestling the weapon away before she can pull the trigger. She collapses in tears, sleeping by the mounds while Joseph keeps watch over her until dawn. As morning breaks and the group prepares to depart, Yellow Hawk approaches Joseph. He warns that this territory is crawling with violent gunmen who kill for sport. He asks to be unbound so he can help defend them if attacked. Joseph refuses, believing they have enough firepower to handle it. But Yellow Hawk was right. Gunmen ambush the party. First, they kill Philippe instantly. Then, a bullet strikes Henry. But Joseph and the others are stubborn. They dig in and return fire methodically. They manage to gun down most of the attackers, forcing the battered survivors to flee into the wilderness. Then, Yellow Hawk and his son, Black Hawk, approach Joseph again. They point out that the surviving gunmen will surely return to ambush them. They insist on having their handcuffs removed so they can fight to save the group. Joseph looks at his companions, then signals Rudy to unlock the cuffs, though he issues a stern warning. If they try any tricks, they will be shot down. They continue on, setting up camp at nightfall. The next morning, a short distance away, they find the corpses of the 3 remaining gunmen. Joseph studies the bodies, then looks at the father and son. He realizes they slipped away during the night to hunt down the enemies. They have proven they are trustworthy. Eventually, they reach the city and meet Colonel Ross. Joseph explains that their companion Henry is gravely injured and needs urgent treatment. Ross sends him to the hospital and arranges for the group to stay at his home. During dinner, Ross's wife speaks sympathetically about Native Americans, noting how the government steals their land and imprisons them, a topic that visibly irritates the colonel. Later, Joseph asks Ross for a favor. Rosalie has nowhere to go and no work. He asks Ross to shelter her for a few days. Ross agrees, though Rosalie is confused why Joseph is leaving her behind. Ross then speaks to Joseph about Sergeant Charles Wills, a former soldier who went insane and murdered many natives. He is sentenced to death, but Ross needs him transported to another jail for execution. Joseph agrees to the task, provided Ross honors his request. Before leaving, Joseph visits Henry, praising his bravery against the Comanche and calling him a great soldier before saying his goodbyes. But before he can leave, Rosalie confronts him. She insists she cannot live with a strange family in her condition. She wants to be alone or go with him until his mission ends. Joseph relents. Sergeant Wills is brought out, and Ross assigns 2 other guards to accompany them. After a few hours of travel, they reach a high clearing to set up camp. They tie Wills to a tree first. Joseph approaches him. From Wills' words, we learn they fought natives together in the past. Wills argues he only killed the guilty, never the innocent, but Joseph offers no reply. After dinner, Rosalie joins the women of Yellow Hawk's family to wash dishes at the river. Suddenly, hunters ambush them, dragging the women away. Yellow Hawk's son runs back to report the abduction. Hearing this, everyone grabs their weapons to hunt them down. They find horse tracks and spot a camp in the distance. Approaching stealthily, they see the 3 women tied up, their clothes torn. It is clear they have been raped. No one speaks. The rage is silent. They storm the camp, killing every hunter mercilessly. They return the women to the safety of the tents to sleep. In the morning, Joseph checks on Rosalie from outside her tent, asking if she is okay, but she remains silent. He checks on the native women, then orders the march to resume. Heavy rain forces them to camp early. Wills is tied to a tree outside. As Joseph heads to his tent, Thomas approaches. He confesses he can never forgive himself for his past brutality against the natives. He walks straight to Yellow Hawk's family and apologizes for the wrongs done to their community. Meanwhile, Rudy takes a cup of coffee to Wills. Seizing the moment, Wills attacks Rudy, shoots him with his own gun, and flees. Hearing the shot, the camp rushes out. Seeing Rudy's body, Thomas jumps on his horse, chasing Wills in a blind rage. Joseph screams for him to stop, but he ignores it. The group follows. The next morning, they find the bodies of Wills and Thomas. Joseph runs to Thomas. He sees that Thomas killed Wills, then turned the gun on himself, unable to live with the guilt of his past actions. Seeing his best friend dead, Joseph breaks down, weeping for the retirement they never got to share. Rosalie sits with him for hours, offering silent comfort. Later, as Yellow Hawk grows sicker, Joseph tells him they are nearing Montana. He shakes Yellow Hawk's hand, signifying that his hatred for the natives is gone. He finally sees him as a human being, acknowledging the wrongs done to them. They arrive in Montana. As Yellow Hawk steps onto his ancestral land, he passes away, a smile of peace on his face. As they perform his last rites and bury him, a landowner named Cyrus arrives with his men. He claims the land is his and orders them to remove the grave. Joseph displays the president's letter, but Cyrus retorts that natives have no rights. This is white man's land. A firefight erupts instantly. Bullets fly from all directions. Everyone is killed except Joseph, Rosalie, and Little Bear. Cyrus is dead, but his last gunman remains. Joseph attacks him in a rage, killing him brutally, using the same methods the natives once used, symbolically ending the cycle of violence. Yellow Hawk's family is gone. After burying the dead, Joseph leaves with Rosalie and Little Bear. At the railway station, Rosalie announces she is taking the boy to Chicago. She is crying, her eyes full of love for Joseph. She doesn't want to leave him. She wants to spend the rest of her life with him. Joseph's eyes show he feels the same, but he is a man who never forgets his duty. She boards the train with the boy. Joseph stands on the platform, thinking. Finally, unable to stop himself, he steps onto the train. He chooses love over his past, ready to spend his life with her. The film ends here. Friends, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.